Hi everyone, Sherman Chin here and welcome to my vlog again. And today I'm going to talk about the Asus Zenbook S16 featuring the AMD Ryzen AI 9 HX370. Now I've been talking about that in my last video and apparently I got the name wrong. So this video is going to focus on technicalities telling us how to get the name right and why it's named that way. So let's take a listen.
The name. This laptop features a Ryzen AI 9 HX370. Even we, who are fluent in this confusing language of product names, struggle to understand it. On one hand, the 9.
See, it's so confusing, but you saw that processor name listing in Windows there. It says Ryzen AI 9. I've always named it Ryzen 9 AI. So there is a flip there and he's going to explain why it's called the Ryzen AI 9, okay?
Seems to denote a Ryzen 9, but according to AMD's explanation, there's also a performance indicator in the 370. The first digit, 3, supposedly represents the generation or year of the model. It's 2024, so the number is 3. The second digit, 7, indicates the performance level within the series, where higher numbers usually denote better performance or more features. So it's a Ryzen 9, but a Ryzen 9 with performance level 7. Very clear. The third digit, 0, differentiates modes within the same series because obviously the whole thing isn't confusing enough. What planet are these people inventing these classifications come from? And by the way, Intel's naming schemes aren't any better. Although I detest government interference in private business, I dream of a day.
So there you go. It's super confusing and I've been naming the AMD Ryzen AI 9 wrongly all this while without even knowing. But thanks to technicalities here, he has explained what it all means. So as you know, there's a Ryzen, that's a AMD branding for their processors, or what they call a APU. That's also confusing because APU stands for Accelerated Processing Unit, which combines the graphics, the integrated GPU, which is the graphics processing unit, plus the the microprocessing unit itself, I mean the CPU itself, which is the central processing unit. So the CPU plus the GPU is equal to the APU according to AMD, but in Intel it's just a CPU plus the iGPU, which is the integrated GPU. If it's not confusing enough, Qualcomm uses the term SoC, which is system on chip, which combines the GPU, the NPU, the CPU plus I guess the integrated modem, and I guess that's the difference because now both Intel's CPUs and also the AMD CPUs have the GPU integrated, have the NPU, which is the neural processing unit in charge of the AI, integrated as well. So it's really confusing because AMD likes to call it some really weird names like the APU. It used to mean arithmetic processing units when it comes to CPU terms, but now it means accelerated processing unit according to AMD. So it's super duper confusing. So I'm glad he explained it. So so I forgot to mention the HX370 denotes the H denotes the high performance, okay, because they have a 365, the AMD Ryzen AI 9 365, which is the lower end CPU or the APU, and then they have this HX375, which is 370, sorry, which is the higher end microprocessor or the APU. So the 7 there denotes the 7 series of performance or whatever. So yeah, that's how AMD is confusing everyone. But I mean, practically you like to know whether the laptops work or not, and this one I guess it does work, and I'm just going to skip right to the end. If you want, you can just check out this guy's video directly, his technical qualities, but I'm just gonna skip to the summary of how good
about
it is.
over 11 hours of normal use, a value that was unattainable a few years ago on this architecture. Sure, in a world where ARM laptops achieve 16 hours or more of battery life, the Zenbook S16's battery life can't come close to the podium, but the progress is substantial and visible. The multimedia side is also solid. In addition to the superb screen, the 6-speaker...
So I'm just gonna mention the power usage here, or the battery longevity. It's 16 hours, well, and sorry, it's 11 hours compared to the Snapdragon X Elite's 16 hours. I know the other YouTubers have gotten different usage time, so some of them are saying that it lasts more than 20 hours, but this guy is like 11 hours or 16 hours. But again, it really depends on your usage. So there's a lot to be said here, and I think again, Intel is going to come somewhere in the middle, because of their Intel Lunar Lake that's not as powerful as the AMD when it comes to performance, but when it comes to CPU to battery usage, the Intel is going to perform better than AMD in terms of battery usage or wattage. And right now, we're going to hear the conclusions.
Also solid. In addition to the superb screen, the 6-speaker audio system certified by Harman Kardon does an honorable job with audio tasks. The system is surprisingly powerful, but to be honest, it lacks bass. For online meetings, the clarity is perfect, but for music and movies, the audio system gets a sufficient rating from me. The 1080p camera with Windows Hello support is mediocre, especially compared to the one on the VivoBook with ARM processor. Oh, and a warning. This Zenbook was designed to stay on a desk, not on your lap. The rubber bumps at the bottom will leave deep marks on your thighs if you keep the laptop on your lap for long, and due to the materials used, the chassis distributes the processor's heat over a larger area. This might help with cooling, but during intensive use, the laptop becomes uncomfortably hot, especially on the bottom. As long as you keep it on a desk or other non-organic surfaces, these problems won't arise. So
obviously you can see the Zenbook S16 by Asus is meant to look good. I guess it's going to compete with a MacBook Air, but this one has less battery longevity, and but it does have a bigger screen. It looks really nice on the desk. Just don't put it on your lap. This performance is obviously not as good as the Apple, and of course for longevity we are going to look at the Snapdragon X Elite, which is much better. So let's hear the conclusion.
The Zenbook S16 is a laptop worthy of the Zenbook name, with cutting-edge technology and an AMD processor that manages to make a good impression despite power limitations. I can't wait to test an AMD processor from the new generation with a more generous power budget, although I know this moves it away from the declared purpose of this segment, which is mobility. And finally, I wonder, and I also ask you, is this the beginning of the end for laptop processors based on x86 technology? At least for the thin and light segment, meaning laptops used for lighter and more usual tasks, ARM processors seem much more efficient and suitable. If software support improves, no matter how powerful the processors launched by the red and blue teams, with Intel also set to release something new soon, I think Qualcomm will strengthen its foothold in a territory until recently taboo: Windows laptops. On the other hand, for those of us more into gaming, the future still looks bright, largely thanks to AMD. For what we do on PCs and laptops, it will be a while before Snapdragon has a say, and Intel's recent blunders are eroding more and more confidence in the blue team. Thus, we are left with an AMD increasingly present on serious gaming desktops, and, from what I see so far, with a convincing presence on laptops also, with a new mobile processor series. In about 2 weeks, we will see what the Ryzen 9000 desktop processors can do, but I say that among all...
Okay, so that's the end for this video. I'm just going to conclude by saying that I think that the Intel Lunar Lake that's coming up will make or break Intel, because it's going to show whether x86 processors can compete against the Snapdragon X Elite in terms of battery life. And I have high hopes for the Intel Lunar Lake because it's based on TSMC architecture. I know AMD is also based on the current Ryzen 9 AI that we are talking about. Ryzen AI 9 that we are talking about is based on the TSMC architecture. It's made in this Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturing company, which makes it power efficient. But AMD has chosen to focus more on the performance, so the battery usage is not as good, but it's good for games. And me as a power user and a gamer, I'll prefer something like AMD and the x86 backward compatibility with all Windows software. But I also want a long battery life because I want to take my laptop on traveling occasions. When I'm flying, I need that kind of battery longevity. So I would say that I'm going to have high hopes for the Intel Lunar Lake. So I conclude it here. Thank you so much, guys. If you like videos like this, please do give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe. And before I go, please do check out the Kaiser Beyond knife, a very fidgety knife. It's quite safe if you know how to use it, and very useful for opening packages, for dealing with tangled mess of wires and stuff like that. So it's good for display as well. Get it from thomastools.com.my at using the discount code, my discount code ShermanChin, with the link down below. Alright, thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next one. Take care now. Bye.